Heart attack in women. 5 subtle signs doctors say are often missed. Have you ever felt exhausted, not just tired, but the kind of fatigue that makes your bones ache, and told yourself, "I just need more rest"? If you're a woman, you need to hear this. Because a heart attack in women doesn't always start with chest pain. In fact, for millions of women around the world, it begins quietly, with a whisper instead of a scream. Hollywood made us believe that heart attacks are sudden, dramatic moments, a man clutching his chest, falling to the floor. But for women, it's rarely that simple. It can look like back pain. It can feel like heartburn. It can hide behind stress, fatigue, or even anxiety. And because of that, far too many women never realize what's happening until it's too late. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, someone in the US has a heart attack every 40 seconds. Yet women are 20% more likely to die after one, not because their bodies are weaker, but because the warning signs are easier to miss. A silent danger lives inside the rhythm of our modern lives, the pressure to keep going, to care for others first, to ignore the subtle signals our own hearts are trying to send. When I first learned how different the female heart attack symptoms are, it hit me hard. We've been taught to watch for pain in the chest, but no one tells you that. For women, the signs often hide in the back, the neck, or the jaw. No one tells you that the constant fatigue, the nausea, the shortness of breath you keep brushing off could be your heart's cry for help. So today, I want to share something every woman, and every man who loves one, needs to know. We're going to uncover the 5 subtle signs of a heart attack in women that even doctors say are often missed. Because knowing these could save your life, or the life of someone sitting right next to you. Heart disease has long been seen as a man's disease. But the truth is, it's not. Today, we're diving into heart attacks in women, a reality that affects millions, yet is still misunderstood and often ignored. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, heart disease is the #1 killer of women in the United States, taking more lives each year than all forms of cancer combined. Every 40 seconds, someone suffers a heart attack, and nearly half of them are women. But here's what's truly alarming. Women are far more likely to die from their first heart attack because the symptoms aren't recognized soon enough. The classic Hollywood version, severe chest pain, arm numbness, and sudden collapse, fits the textbook for men. For women, it's different. Their symptoms whisper, not scream. A female heart attack symptom can be as subtle as fatigue that won't go away, or shortness of breath that seems harmless. A report from the American Heart Association, AHA, reveals that women often arrive at the hospital hours later than men because they don't suspect a heart attack is happening at all. Some think it's anxiety, others blame indigestion, a pulled muscle, or menopause. By the time they seek help, the damage has already begun. The heart muscle, starved of oxygen, starts to die, minute by minute. The problem isn't just awareness, it's biology. Women have smaller coronary arteries, different hormonal protection patterns, and are more prone to microvascular dysfunction, meaning blood flow can be restricted without a visible blockage on scans. That's why even advanced tests sometimes miss it. And yet, it's preventable. Studies from the AHA and CDC show that early recognition of subtle signs can cut heart attack deaths in women by up to 30%. So, if women don't always get the classic chest pain, what does a heart attack in women actually feel like? In the next few minutes, we'll uncover the 5 silent symptoms that doctors say are most often missed, and why they matter more than you think. 1. The biological difference. Why female heart attack symptoms are different. When it comes to heart attacks, women and men are not built the same. That's not a statement about strength, it's about biology. The American Heart Association, AHA, and American College of Cardiology, ACC, have shown that women often experience heart attacks in a completely different way because of how their cardiovascular system is structured and how hormones influence blood flow. Men usually develop large blockages in the major coronary arteries, those that can be easily seen on an angiogram. But for women, the story is often quieter and far more complicated. Women tend to develop what's called microvascular dysfunction, tiny blockages or spasms in the small blood vessels that supply oxygen to the heart muscle. These vessels are so small that traditional tests might miss them. You could walk into an emergency room, get an ECG and even a coronary scan, and still be told everything looks fine, while your heart is silently starving for oxygen. Estrogen, a hormone that once offered protection in younger women, begins to decline during menopause. That hormonal shift increases blood pressure, changes the way fat is stored, and weakens the flexibility of blood vessel walls. It's a perfect storm for subtle symptoms to appear, the kind that can easily be mistaken for something else. So when a woman says, "I just feel off," or "something doesn't feel right," she's not being dramatic. Her body is speaking a different language, one that the world hasn't learned to listen to yet. 2. The silent fatigue, when tiredness becomes a warning sign. Now let's talk about the first of those 5 silent signs: fatigue. Not the kind of tired you get after a long day. This is the kind of exhaustion that sits deep in your bones. That lingers no matter how much you sleep. You might wake up feeling like you never went to bed. According to the AHA Chest Pain Guidelines, 2021, extreme fatigue is one of the most common early symptoms of a silent heart attack in women. It often appears days or even weeks before an event, but it's rarely recognized for what it is. Why does it happen? When your heart isn't getting enough oxygen, every cell in your body suffers. The heart, which is supposed to be your power source, starts struggling to meet the body's energy demands. That's when women begin to feel drained, dizzy, or weak for no clear reason. Many women push through it because that's what women do. They assume it's stress, hormones, or maybe anemia. They drink more coffee, sleep less, and promise themselves they'll rest when things calm down. But the heart doesn't wait for life to slow down. In one study published by the American College of Cardiology, more than half of women who experienced a heart attack reported unexplained fatigue in the days leading up to it. Not one of them thought it was their heart. So, if you've been feeling exhausted for days without explanation, and especially if that fatigue comes with shortness of breath or dizziness, don't ignore it. It might not be burnout. It might be your heart quietly crying for help. 3. The upper back pain and shoulder discomfort, the hidden pain women dismiss. Here's the second and third sign, and they're among the most dangerously overlooked: upper back pain and shoulder discomfort. In men, heart attacks often cause a crushing pain in the center of the chest that radiates down the left arm. In women, the discomfort may spread across the back, the shoulder blades, the neck, or even the jaw. Sometimes it feels like pressure, sometimes like burning, sometimes like someone tied a tight band around your upper back. The AHA/ACC Guideline for the Evaluation of Chest Pain, 2021, explicitly lists pain or discomfort in the upper back, jaw, or neck as key anginal equivalents in women, meaning these symptoms can represent heart pain, even without chest pain at all. The reason? When parts of the heart are deprived of oxygen, the nerves that send pain signals don't always point directly to the chest. Instead, they radiate outward, to the shoulders, back, or arms. This, referred pain, is the body's way of saying something is wrong. But the message often gets lost in translation. Women frequently dismiss this kind of pain as a pulled muscle, poor posture, or the result of lifting something heavy. Some even visit chiropractors or massage therapists, trying to fix what they believe is a back issue, when in fact the problem lies in their heart. If that pain is new, persistent, or comes with sweating, nausea, or fatigue, it deserves medical attention immediately. Imagine this. You're sitting at your desk, working through another long afternoon. Your back starts to ache between your shoulder blades. You stretch, take a deep breath, and push through it. But if that ache feels deep, dull, and strangely heavy, especially if it doesn't change when you move, that's not muscle pain. That could be the quiet beginning of a heart attack in women. Remember this. Pain that feels unusual deserves investigation. Your heart may not shout, but it never lies. 4. The nausea, indigestion, and shortness of breath, the disguised signals. Let's move to the final 2 signs, nausea and shortness of breath. These symptoms are so common that most women blame them on something harmless: a heavy meal, acid reflux, anxiety, or even a bad night's sleep. But when they come together, or appear without any obvious cause, they can be powerful warning signs of a heart attack. According to the 2025 ACC, AHA, ACEP guideline for the management of acute coronary syndromes, women are far more likely than men to present with non-chest pain symptoms such as nausea, vomiting, or breathlessness. In some cases, these are the only symptoms they experience. Here's what happens inside the body. When blood flow to the heart is reduced, the body responds by activating the vagus nerve, a key communication line between the heart and digestive tract. This can create sensations of indigestion, bloating, or nausea. It can even trigger vomiting. At the same time, the lungs may start compensating for the heart's reduced pumping efficiency, leading to that breathless feeling, the sense that you just can't catch your breath. Now, imagine being in the middle of your day, walking up the stairs, talking on the phone, and suddenly feeling winded, lightheaded, or slightly nauseous. You rest, it goes away, and you think, maybe I skipped lunch. But what if that's not your stomach at all? What if that's your heart saying it's running out of oxygen? The CDC emphasizes that women are more likely to wait longer before calling 911. Partly because they don't associate these digestive or respiratory sensations with heart trouble. And that delay can be deadly. The longer a heart attack goes untreated, the more heart muscle dies. So here's a rule of thumb: if nausea, heartburn, or shortness of breath come out of nowhere, especially when you're not exerting yourself, don't ignore it. Your heart doesn't care what's on your to-do list. It only cares about survival. 5. The subtle whisper before the storm, when it all feels off. Beyond these 5 hallmark symptoms, fatigue, upper back pain, shoulder or jaw discomfort, nausea, and breathlessness, there's one more thing that almost every woman who's had a heart attack describes: a deep sense that something just isn't right. It's not always pain. Sometimes it's intuition, a heaviness, a restlessness, a strange anxiety that can't be explained. This isn't superstition, it's biology. Your nervous system is wired to detect subtle shifts in your body long before you consciously notice them. AHA researchers call this prodromal awareness, early warning sensations that signal physiological stress in the heart. Women, in particular, are more likely to experience these nonspecific symptoms because of how their neural pathways process pain. So when your mind says, it's probably nothing, but your gut says, something's wrong, believe the second voice. Tying it together, the quiet language of the female heart. When you look at these symptoms together, a pattern emerges, one that tells a different story about what a heart attack in women really looks like. It's not one big moment. It's a series of quiet whispers over days, sometimes weeks, a story that unfolds in fatigue, in discomfort, in subtle changes that only you can feel. The heart attack symptoms in women are not less real, they're just less loud. And because the world has been trained to listen for screams, it often misses the whispers. But when you know what to look for, everything changes. You realize that back pain isn't always about posture. That shortness of breath isn't always anxiety. That, just being tired, can mean your heart is asking for help. Knowledge is power, but in this case, knowledge is also prevention. The CDC and AHA estimate that nearly 80% of premature heart disease can be prevented through awareness, early detection, and lifestyle change. That starts with recognition, knowing that the signs of a heart attack in women are different, subtle, and deeply personal. So as you reflect on these 5 quiet signals, fatigue, upper back pain, shoulder or jaw discomfort, nausea, and shortness of breath, remember, none of them are normal when they're new, unexplained, or persistent. If you ever feel even one of these, especially in combination, don't wait. Call for help. Because heart attacks don't always break your heart in an instant, sometimes. They whisper first. Knowing is the first step. Acting is the second, and it's the one that saves lives. You see, understanding how a heart attack in women unfolds isn't about fear. It's about awareness, the kind that changes how you live, how you listen, and how you love yourself. Because your heart has been working for you every single second of your life. It beats when you're asleep, when you're anxious, when you're chasing deadlines or taking care of everyone else. It never asks for much, just a little attention, a little care, a little rest. For years, women have been told to tough it out, to be strong, to keep moving. But strength isn't about ignoring pain. True strength is knowing when to pause, when to listen, and when to say, my health matters too. Every expert, from the American Heart Association to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, agrees that prevention starts not in the hospital, but at home. It starts with small choices. Taking the stairs instead of the elevator, eating foods that heal instead of harm, sleeping enough, managing stress, and checking your blood pressure even when you feel fine. It starts with paying attention to the quiet signals before they turn into alarms. You don't need a medical degree to protect your heart. You just need to tune in. Use a heart attack risk calculator. It takes less than a minute. But it can show you where you stand. Schedule that routine checkup you've been postponing. And if something doesn't feel right, even if it's just fatigue, jaw pain, or shortness of breath, listen to that instinct. That's your body's intelligence speaking louder than fear. Here's the truth. Prevention isn't about perfection. It's not about becoming a fitness model or cutting out every indulgence. It's about balance, about learning to honor your heart the same way it's honored you all your life. Imagine this. The sun rising over a quiet park. A woman walking slowly, breathing deeply, feeling the rhythm of her heartbeat under her fingertips. That's what empowerment looks like, not running from fear, but walking toward health. That's what transformation means, when awareness becomes action, and action becomes healing. Because the goal isn't just to avoid a heart attack, it's to build a heart-healthy life, one that beats stronger, longer, and fuller with every choice you make. So take this moment as a turning point. Your heart's story isn't written yet. And every beat, every single one, is another chance to begin again. You've just learned what most people never get told, that a heart attack in women doesn't always start with pain, but with whispers. Now you know how to hear them. And that simple awareness could save your life, or the life of someone you love. But knowledge is only powerful when it leads to action. So before you scroll to the next thing, take a deep breath and make yourself a promise. I'll start paying attention to my heart. Start small. Check your blood pressure this week. Take a short walk every morning. Add more color to your plate, greens, reds, oranges, food that fuels, not just fills. Sleep like your heart depends on it, because it does. And remember, self-care isn't selfish, it's survival. If this video opened your eyes, the next one could open a new chapter for your health. Watch our guide on heart attack prevention, where we break down how to reverse risk factors, heal your arteries, and strengthen your heart from the inside out. You'll learn how small, consistent habits can rebuild your heart's resilience, from managing stress hormones to eating for circulation and blood pressure control. It's not about fear, it's about freedom, freedom to live with energy, confidence, and peace of mind. And if this message spoke to you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with your mother, your sister, your friend, anyone who needs to know that women's hearts don't always break loudly. Sometimes, they simply fade in silence. And we can't afford to stay silent anymore. So, hit that subscribe button, not for me, but for you. Because here, at the Cardiac Hub, we believe that knowledge meets action. We believe that prevention is power, that awareness saves lives, and that your heart deserves to be heard. Take care of it. Listen to it. Because one day, you'll realize your heart wasn't just keeping you alive, it was keeping your story going. Until then, keep your heart strong, keep it open, and let it beat, boldly, beautifully, and without fear.